the host.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Dear brothers and sisters, Mu'mineen and Mu'minat, we have gathered tonight to commemorate the first year of our beloved uncle, son, or father, a beautiful personality, Uncle Syed Aftab Naqvi. We are here to, inshallah, remember and recite the majalis and Marsiya Salam, and inshallah tilawat Quran, and then hadiyah to the departed soul. I will inshallah start with the recitation of Holy Quran. Can I have the loudest of Salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad? Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور الذي خلق 7 سماوات طبقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فتور ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير وللذين كفروا بربهم عذاب جهنم وبئس المصير إذا ألقوا فيها سمعوا لها شهيقا وهي تفور تكاد تميز من الغيظ كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزناتها ألم يأتكم نذير قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير وقالوا لو كنا نسمع ونعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير فاعترفوا بذنبهم فسوقا لأصحاب السعير إن الذين يخشون ربهم بالغيب لهم مغفرة وأجر كبير وأسروا قولكم وبجهر به إنه عليم بذات الصدور ألا يعلم من خلق وهو اللطيف الخبير هو الذي جعل لكم الأرض ذلولا فامشوا في مناكبها وكلوا من رزقه وإليه النشور أأمنتم من في السماء أن يخسف بكم الأرض فإذا هي تمور أم أمنتم من في السماء أن يرسل عليكم حاصبا فستعلمون كيف نذير ولقد كذب الذين من قبلهم فكيف كان نكير أولم يروا إلى الطير فوقهم صفات ويقبضن ما يمسكهن إلا الرحمن إنه بكل شيء بصير أمن هذا الذي هو جند لكم ينصركم من دون الرحمن إن الكافرون إلا في غرور أمن هذا الذي يرزقكم إن أمسك رزقه بل لجوا في عتو ونفور أفمن يمشي مكبا على وجهه أهدى أمن يمشي سويا على صراط مستقيم قل هو الذي أنشأكم وجعل لكم السمع والأبصار والأفئدة قليلا ما تشكرون قل هو الذي ذراكم في الأرض وإليه تحشرون ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين قل إنما العلم عند الله وإنما أنا نذير مبين فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا وقيل هذا الذي كنتم به تدعون قل أرأيتم إن أهلكني الله ومن معي أو رحمنا فمن يجير الكافرين من عذاب عليم قل هو الرحمن آمنا به وإليه توكلنا فستعلمون من هو في زلال مبين قل أرأيتم إن أصبح ماؤكم غورا فمن يأتيكم بماء معين صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Now I would like to request our brother Hassan Mujtaba, if he is online, please start with the recitation of Hadith Kisa followed by a salam. Inshallah, brother Hassan. Can we all please invite brother Hassan with the loudest of salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري يروي عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جدا يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء قال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أماه فقلت وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معكما تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء فقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله يتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له عليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ بي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربكم أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم. فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطاهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنيا ولا أرضا مدحيا ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال جبرائيل يا رب يتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض ليكون معهم سادسا. فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله العلي الأعلى يقرأك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنيا ولا أرضا مدحيا ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم. وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله هو الذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال بي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي يا علي يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سلام in Urdu language. باوز بلند صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. تیرا چہرہ تیری آنکھیں بھول کب پائی حسین. آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. چلتے ناکے سے گرایا خود کو جلتی ریت پر. چلتے ناکے سے گرایا خود کو جلتی ریت پر. گھٹنیوں کے بل میں تیری لاش تک آئی حسین. بس میں گھبرائی تھی خنجر تجھ پہ چلتا دیکھ کر. بس میں گھبرائی تھی خنجر تجھ پہ چلتا دیکھ کر پھر کسی مشکل میں گر کر میں نہ گھبرائی حسین۔ کون تھا جو مرنے والوں میں نہیں تا خوب رو، کون تھا جو مرنے والوں میں نہیں تھا خوب رو، بھولنے بیٹھی تو کس کس کی نہ یاد آئی حسین۔ بہہ رہے تھے آنکھ سے آنسو تیری رخصت کے وقت، بہہ رہے تھے آنکھ سے آنسو تیری رخصت کے وقت، پھر کوئی آنسو نہ ٹپکا آنکھ پتھرائی حسین۔ ہاتھ میں کوزے لیے سب آسماں تکتے رہے، ہاتھ میں کوزے لیے سب آسماں تکتے رہے، ابر نے ایک بوند پانی کی نہ برسائی حسین، ابر نے ایک بوند پانی کی نہ برسائی حسین۔ دور افتاد و سفر سے لوٹ کر میں نے نوید، دور افتاد و سفر سے لوٹ کر میں نے نوید، ٹھنڈا پانی جب پیا بس تیری یاد آئی حسین۔ آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین، تیرا چہرہ تیری آنکھیں بھول کب پائی حسین، آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین، صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Jazakallah khair, Brother Hassan Mujtaba, who was reciting in his beautiful voice and saying tribute to Muhammad wa ali Muhammad and the departed soul of Uncle Syed Aftab Naqvi as well. Before I invite Syed Farazdaq Razavi, I think we've got Syed Zakir Hussain. Are you online to say Surah Fatiha as per the program schedule?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, Bismillah.
Bismillah rahman rahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Rahman rahim. Malik yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim ghayril maghdubi alaihim waladdallin.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Jazakallah, brother. Thank you very much for a beautiful recitation. Now, without any delay, I would like to humbly request Maulana Syed Farazdaq Razavi to please recite tonight's Isa alayhi Sawab Majlis for Uncle Syed Aftab Naqvi. Can we all please invite Syed with the loudest of Salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali
Fatiha. Can we please recite another Surah Fatiha for the Isa alayhi Sawab of Marhum Syed Aftab Naqvi Hussain? لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والجنة للموحدين والنار للملحدين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيبنا الممجد أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقاصب حقوقهم وقاتليهم أجمعين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في قرآنه المجيد والفرقانه الحميد وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. This out of the Holy Quran, which I had the honor of reciting in front of you, can be found in Surah Ahzab, ayat number 21, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states that there has certainly been for you in the Messenger of Allah an excellent pattern. Today's topic is etiquette, or if we talk about it in Urdu terminology, Akhlaq. In English, Akhlaq is a topic which encompasses morals, ethics, mannerisms, and characteristics. And as followers of Rahmatul lil Alameen, as Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we see that first, the ayat of the Holy Quran has said that the Holy Prophet is the best of examples, Uswa Hasana. And you have the Hadith of the Holy Prophet as Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam himself, where the Holy Prophet states, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمِ الْأَخْلَاقِ, that I was sent down, بُعِثْتُ بِعْثَت, that I was sent down on this earth to complete the Akhlaq of mankind. And when we look at the life of the Holy Prophet, especially when we see what is happening within France, where the magazine Charlie Hebdo republished the comic or a cartoon of the Holy Prophet, where the Prophet's turban is a bomb. And this is how, through this, they are trying to depict the message of Islam and the message of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But their shortcoming is in the fact that they have not studied the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in fact, I would advise them to study the 40 years of the Holy Prophet before he announced his prophethood, where he was given the title of As-Sadiq and Al-Amin by the people of the Mushrikeen, the Munafiqeen of Makkah. Where even after the Prophet announced his prophethood, and those same people turned against the Prophet of Islam, yet they still knew him as and believed him to be As-Sadiq and Al-Amin. And these two titles are the greatest titles of the Holy Prophet. It is through these two titles that when the Holy Prophet announced Islam, people came flocking towards the Holy Prophet because they knew him to be honest and trustworthy. In today's day and age, when we look at Akhlaq, we think that Akhlaq is only mannerisms and manners and etiquettes. But Akhlaq encompasses every aspect of our life. And for us to be able to perfect our etiquette, our mannerisms, we must look towards none other than the Holy Prophet and his holy progeny, the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, where we see them to be perfect in every aspect. Now we cannot find any shortcomings within the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. But unfortunately, our shortcoming is that when we look towards religion, when we look towards Islam, we think of Islam as a religion, when in fact Islam is a way of life. Islam is the perfect way of life. Islam is the only religion which teaches us how to behave with others, how to sit in society. And that can and is only taught to us from the University of Abu Abdullah Hussain. I believe there are parents listening in on this lecture. What do you tell your children before you attend the majalis? You tell them how to behave, you tell them how to sit, and how to greet one another inside the Imam Barga. Do our primary schools, our high schools, our colleges, or even our universities, do they teach us this? No. Does this Western society tell us how to greet our elders, how to greet our youngsters? No. This is what religion teaches us. This is what the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam teaches. How to behave with one another, how to interact with one another. Unfortunately, today, the Muslim identity has become violence, when in fact, the Muslim identity should be, as the ayat of the Holy Quran states, that enter with peace. Yet, we enter with what thought process? we have a responsibility that we are all ambassadors of the Holy Prophet. We are all ambassadors of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. That in today's day and age, I believe I said it in one of my previous lectures online, when the topic that I was given was Nabuwat. That today, whatever we do reflects upon our religion. It no longer reflects upon me as an individual. Whatever I do in public reflects upon me as a Muslim, especially if the person knows that I'm a Muslim. For example, the comments of the French premier in regards to Islam. What made him come to that decision or that conclusion was the way that he sees the Muslim behave in today's day and age. Whereas, in fact, our society is that it does not matter what religion, what creed, what color you are. In the eyes of Allah, as the hadith of Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib states, that humanity, they're either brothers in faith or equals in humanity. And we see throughout the life of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself, Medina, when the Holy Prophet migrated from Mecca to Medina. Medina was majority a Jewish city. Yet the Holy Prophet, after he had established the Islamic government, he called the non-Muslims. And he said that today you are able to, we give you permission to live according to your religion, according to your beliefs. But because it is an Islamic government, we, the Muslims, will provide you protection. And for that protection, we will ask for a certain percentage of, which we classify as tax. This is the Holy Prophet, how he lived in peace today. And this all dependent upon our etiquette and our mannerisms, how the Holy Prophet treated others, how he interacted with others. And this is not just in regards to the Holy Prophet, but in regards to every single one of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. You have the famous incident of our second Imam, Hassan Mujtaba alayhi salam. Salawat. Where Imam Hassan Askari was working, Imam Hassan Mujtaba was working on his field on the outskirts of the city of Medina. When all of a sudden a person from Sham entered into the city and he saw Imam Hassan working on his farm. As soon as he saw Imam Hassan, he started to swear and curse at Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib. Now, this is an example for our souls. Let us put our souls in the position of Imam Hassan, that someone, a random stranger, comes and starts to swear or insult our parents. How would we behave? How would we interact with that person? Imam Hassan, they look towards the person and goes, it looks like you are a stranger in the city. You're a guest in the city. Are you in need of food? Are you in need of clothing? Are you in need of money? If there's anything that you're in need of, let me know so that I can fulfill your needs. Hearing this behavior and hearing these words from the mouth of Imam Hassan, that person who had come from Sham became a lover, started to weep and accepted Islam then and there. This is how we should be in today's day and age. That if someone is insulting our Prophet, if someone is insulting our parents, our family members, we should, rather than interact with them in a way which causes us to lose our temper, we should behave in such a way that we bring them closer to us, so that that misunderstanding that that person has disappears. Unfortunately, today's day and age, the issues that we all face, 90% of the problems arise due to misunderstanding and nothing else. That we have our mindsets already set. For example, we have elders within the community who come in and expect everyone else to say salam to them. Yes? Because they're the elders. But imagine if an elderly person said salam to a young child. That child himself would feel blessed that an elderly person of the community recognizes me, and he will become closer to that person, and vice versa. This is how we should be behaving within society. This is how we behave within our own community. Now let's just take that outside where we interact with Muslims and non-Muslims alike. Today, I can guarantee that we as Muslims, 90% of the time, when we interact with a non-Muslim and when we interact with a Muslim, there is a difference in how we greet a Muslim and a non-Muslim. Though they're both our friends, they're both acquaintances. But it should not be like that. Look at Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib, how he behaved with Ibn Muljim after he had been struck on his head by the sword of Ibn Muljim. How he treated Ibn Muljim. This is, we have a responsibility today. Unfortunately, you go to Hyde Park Speaker's Corner, and you see that those people who are defending Islam are making a greater mockery of Islam just by the way they behave. So and Muslims in general, because we are uneducated in regards to our own prophet, we are uneducated in regards to the traditions and teachings of Islam, we are not able to represent our religion. Like I said a few minutes ago, that Islam is a way of life. Islam teaches us everything. There's the ayat of the Holy Quran, ayat al-Kursi, la ikraha fi din, that there is no compulsion within religion. But once we have accepted Islam, we must now accept every aspect, every law within the framework of Islam. Certain aspects of Islam we may not like, certain laws we may not like. That is because of our own shortcoming, not because of Islam. For us to be completely at one with Islam, that is how we should be, completely at one, not live the life of Jekyll and Hyde. This is what majority of us do. That we live the life of Jekyll and Hyde. That when we're at our workplaces, when we're at university, when we are at college, when we're at high school, we behave completely differently to the way we behave when we are, for example, at home or in the masjid or in the Imam Barga. No, the way we behave in the Imam Barga should be exactly the way we behave in society. That we should not be embarrassed of our religion. The reason why we at times feel embarrassed of our religion is because we are not able to answer the questions that are asked from us. And this can all be resolved through better mannerisms and better etiquettes. And I always say that if someone was to ask you that, what is the Islamic identity? What is the identity of Islam? The answer is simple. Give them the Charter of Human Rights written by our fourth Imam, Zain al-Abidin Islam. The book is called Recital al-Huquq, and it's been translated in every single language in existence. And it can be found in English on the internet. Where Recital al-Huquq of Imam Zain al-Abidin Islam teaches us how to behave with all the responsibility, the relationship, and how to behave with one another. It talks about the rights of the mother, the rights of the father, the rights of the brother, the rights of the sister, the rights of your neighbors, rights of Muslims, non-Muslims, everyone. And at the same time, it talks about the rights of our body parts, the rights of the eyes, the rights of the hands, the rights of our tongues. It talks about every aspect. If someone is to completely understand and completely read this book of our fourth Imam, Recital al-Huquq, they will naturally become better Muslims. They'll be able to understand Islam in a far better way than they are understanding it today. Salawat. And at the same time, once we start to change our thought process in regards to Islam, in regards to religion, that we stop thinking of Islam as a religion, we start thinking of Islam as a way of life. We start thinking whatever action we do, we look at it from an Islamic perspective. That what does Islam tell me about this act? What does Islam tell me how in regards to how to behave with someone who is my enemy, for example, or someone who I do not get along with? How does Islam tell me to behave with them? And we study these aspects of Islam. And I can guarantee that Islam does not make life difficult. Islam is there to simplify our lives for us. The same way that the Islamic laws are not there to make our lives difficult for us. Islamic laws are there to simplify our lives, to make sure that we live our lives the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted us to. Like I stated, in today's day and age, we look towards, when we ask the youth who their role models are, they turn towards celebrities, sports stars, footballers, and they say that these are our role models. But if we trained our children to look towards the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam as their role models in every aspect of life, whether it be sports or anything else. In regards to sports, look at none other than Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, for example. And you look at the Hadith of Amir al-Mu'mineen, where he states that teach your children three things. Teach your children swimming, horse riding, and archery. If we look at these three aspects, these three sports, which the Imam taught us about, and then we understand what Amir al-Mu'mineen is trying to tell us. That today, we swap horse riding with, for example, cars. Swimming, we keep our swimming. Archery, we swap with self-defense, for example. And we're able to understand what Amir al-Mu'mineen means by teaching our children these three aspects. You have numerous other examples in regards to the Ahlul Bayt. And like I said, that if we keep the Ahlul Bayt as our role models, the least we will become are like the companions of the Ahlul Bayt, who are not ma'asum, they're not infallibles. Yet, 1400 years on, they're still remembered today. For example, Salman al-Farsi, he was an Iranian. But the companion, he sacrificed everything for the sake of religion in such a way that the Holy Prophet said in regards to Salman al-Farsi, Salman minna Ahlul Bayt, that Salman is a part of my Ahlul Bayt. This in regards to Salman al-Farsi, he was not even an Arab. The least we will become is Abu Dharr al-Ghafari. The least we are able to become is Ammar Yasir, or the other companions of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain in the battle of Karbala. They were not ma'asum, yet they understood who the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam were. They understood what Islam is, and they were willing to give everything for the sake of Islam. And you have the famous incident in regards to the old Jewish lady who would throw rubbish on the head of the Holy Prophet. This is the best example of mannerisms and etiquette. That how would we behave in that position, where on a daily basis, it wasn't a one-off incident, it was a daily basis, whenever the Holy Prophet went past that house of the Jewish lady would throw rubbish on his head. There came a time where that old lady did not throw rubbish out. The Holy Prophet went to the house of the old lady to visit her. The old lady replied that, "Oh Muhammad, you have come to see me now and take your revenge now when I'm not in a power to defend myself." She had fallen ill. And the Holy Prophet replied, "No, I have come to see how you are doing, because I realized that you did not throw rubbish. And I've come to check up upon you. And if there's anything that you're in need of, let me know so that I can provide for you." Seeing this behavior of the Holy Prophet, that woman became a Muslim. And you have the same in regards to Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain, when they were children, as they entered Masjid al-Nabawi for prayers, they went to do wudu and they see an elderly person who is doing wudu incorrectly. Now, in today's day and age, if we see someone who is older than us and we see that they are doing wudu incorrectly, how would we behave? Me personally, I start laughing. Right? This person is in his 60s and is in his 70s, yet he's not able to do, it still does not know how to do wudu correctly. me laughing, me smiling at that moment, if that person sees me smiling, it is an embarrassment for him. He will feel insulted. He will feel degraded. But how did Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain react? They knew that the person is older than them. They knew that he has that respect for being an elder. They looked towards each other, then they looked towards the old person and said, can you please see which one of us is doing wudu correctly and which one of us is doing wudu incorrectly? They both started to do wudu. The old person realized his mistake and said to Imam Hassan, no, you are both correct, I was incorrect. Yeah, the Imams kept the respect of the elderly person and at the same time corrected them. Our responsibility, right? It is our duty that if we see someone doing something incorrectly, we have to correct them. But we correct them in such a way that they do not feel insulted or embarrassed. And I myself have faced this issue many times. I remember I was giving a lecture in one of the centers. After the Majlis, after the program, they held a Q&A session. I was asked a question. As I gave the answer, a person who was sitting, an elderly person sitting at the back, turned around and said, now what does this person know? Look at his beard. His beard isn't even white yet. What does he know? And the shock that I felt at that time. Right? It doesn't matter whether the person is older than you or the person is younger than you. Seek knowledge from wherever you are able to, so that with the intention that you are able to better yourself. So that on the day of judgment, when you stand in front of the Holy Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, your head is held up high, where you're able to say to the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt, that, O Prophet of Islam, I was not a ma'asum, I was not knowledgeable, yet I followed and I tried to follow every aspect of your teachings. This is how we should be behaving in today's society. Be willing to accept knowledge from whoever we are able to. When you look at our maraja, and at what age they became mujtahid, for example, and the followings. For example, Ayatollah Sistani, he became a mujtahid at the age of 13. At the age of 15, 16, people were attending his lessons who were older than him. Not by a few years, by 10, 15 years, they were attending the lectures of Ayatollah Sistani in Najaf. The same with Ayatollah Khouy and all the Maraja today. When we go and attend their lectures, we see that we find numerous people who are older than the Maraja themselves. And they do not feel embarrassed. Today, we ourselves should be the same. That we should not feel embarrassed if we are seeking knowledge from someone who is younger than us, for example. Or from someone who is of a different creed, a different religion. As long as we are there, qurbatan ilallah. Qurbatan ilallah is that we have that intention to bring ourselves closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything that we do, if we utter this sentence, qurbatan ilallah, before we carry out a deed, then that deed becomes the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, as a parent, spending time with your children, you're doing qurbatan ilallah. Or as children, spending time with your parents, you're doing qurbatan ilallah. You go to work, qurbatan ilallah. Every aspect that you do becomes the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we learn that from the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. That whatever the Ahlul Bayt done was purely for the sake of qurbat, nearness, closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is what the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam taught us. Ya Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam in Duaa Kumail, where it says, Zalamtu nafsi, that I have oppressed my nafs. How do I oppress my nafs? We oppress our nafs by not practicing and not keeping that relationship, that correct relationship with one another. Now we have that ego, the biggest issue that we all face as human beings is ego. Not ego which is abstract. That ego which cannot be physically seen. But that ego, if negative, will weigh down upon us. I remember my teacher of Akhlaq in Qom went to his lesson and he gave his homework. The homework was that we all had to go and buy a kilo of apples and carry that 1 kilo of apples everywhere we go for 5 days. We didn't think much of it. We went out, bought the kilo of apples, and we walked around everywhere with it. The first day, we had no issues. Second day, no issues. Third day, the apple started to rot. And we realized that as fruit start to rot, they retain water and get heavier. Third day, they started to rot. Fourth day, there were flies flying around the bag of apples. And fifth day, majority of us on the fourth night, we threw the bag of apples away. On the fifth day, when we went back to the class, our professor, our ustad, our teacher asked us, what happened to the bag of apples? So all of us gave the same reply, that after a few days, they started to rot and they became too heavy, so we threw them away. Our teacher replied that, think of that bag of apples as your ego. That ego may not be physical, but within our hearts, that ego rots our soul from within. It weighs us down and it starts to smell. But it is something which is not physical. It's all in the abstract reality. But we ourselves will start feeling the weight of this ego that we have within ourselves. This ego may be that for example, we have these issues within. I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I believe I have a responsibility. That those of us who are Sayyids, we carry that special ego, arrogance with us. That because I'm a Sayyid, because I'm from the lineage of the Holy Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, therefore I'm greater than those who are non-Sayyids. For example, because I'm from the lineage of the Holy Prophet, the same, I'll give you the example of Harry Potter, the mud-bloods and the pure blood. That is what is happening today. That I'm a Sayyid, therefore I have more rights than someone who's a non-Sayyid. We must realize that on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look at the fact that this person was a Sayyid and this person is a non-Sayyid. Allah on the day of judgment will look at our deeds. Did I practice my religion correctly or not? It does not matter whether I'm Sayyid or not. Yes, from one perspective, it does matter. That we are Sayyids, we will be punished double and we will be rewarded double for our deeds and sins. But apart from that, on the day of judgment, Allah will not look at anything else but our deeds. That did we practice our religion correctly or not? Salman al-Farsi, the Holy Prophet called Salman al-Farsi Salman min Ahlul Bayt. He made Salman al-Farsi part of the Ahlul Bayt, not at the end of the day. We all know that Salman al-Farsi, his name says all that. He was of Iranian, he was Fars. But Salman became a part of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam because of the way he practiced religion. That he sacrificed everything for the sake of Islam, for the sake of the Holy Prophet, for the sake of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Are we willing to do the same or not? And when we study, and for this, we have to hold ourselves accountable for our deeds, for our akhlaq. That at the end of the day, when we are about to go to sleep, bring out a diary and write down the list of all your good deeds and a list of your bad deeds. But you can do the same in regards to your deeds and at the same time in regards to your behavior. How did you behave? For example, how did you behave with your parents today? How did you behave with your siblings today? Did you treat your siblings the way they should be treated? Did you treat your parents the way they should be treated? Did you treat your children the way they should be treated? Or did you usurp their rights? Write it down and hold yourself accountable. Now, for example, today I did not behave correctly with my father. I did not behave, or today I behaved the way I should have with my mother. Write it down, look at it. And those aspects which you know where you did not behave Islamically, did not behave in the correct manner, try to correct yourself. And if it is something that you are in a habit of, then I always give this example that do not try to cancel out all of your bad deeds in one go. Because if you're in a habit of something, it takes time for you to wean yourself of something. And psychologists say that it takes approximately 21 days for you to be able to kick or wean yourself out of any sort of habit. So, for example, I don't get along with my brother, and I've always treated him badly. It will take me 21 days for me to change my behavior in relation to my brother. And this we can use in every aspect of life. For example, there's someone who is not in a habit of praying their 5 daily prayers. I always state that if you're not in a habit of you practicing your 5 daily prayers in one at all, then don't start all 5 of your prayers straight away. Start that prayer which is the easiest for you. Normally, the easiest prayer for everyone is the evening prayers, Maghrib and Isha. Put yourself, because it's in the evening, you're at home, you're relaxed, you have time. Put yourself in the habit of just reciting your Maghribain and nothing else. Yes, if you have time or if you're able to, you're free and you wish to pray your rest of the namaz, then by all means. But please, salawat. Place importance upon your Maghribain prayers. It will take you 21 days for you to get into the habit of reciting your Maghribain. Once you're in the habit of reciting your Maghribain, and it becomes natural to you, becomes at one with you, then you start your second most difficult prayer, which is probably your Zuhrain prayers. I can guarantee that Namaz al-Subh, which is the shortest of prayers, is the most of prayers. That blanket, that duvet, removing that duvet in the morning at Namaz al-Subh time weighs about 50 kilos. Just lifting it so that you up from your prayer. That's the most difficult, but once in the habit of your Zuhrain prayers, then get into the habit of reciting your Subh prayers. At the same time, I believe I went off topic. That, coming back onto the topic of Akhlaq, you have the Duaa of Imam Zain al-Abidin al-Islam in Sayf al-Sajadiyah. It's known as Duaa Makarim al-Akhlaq. It's 104 or 105 sentences. Let us start reading this Makarim al-Akhlaq. But don't read it in one go. Read it 5 sentences a day. Not even 5, less than 5. 2 sentences or 3 sentences a day, and spend the whole day trying to understand those 2 or 3 sentences that you read. That's how you can bring those sentences into action. How you're able to bring those 3 sentences from Du'a Makarim al-Akhlaq into your daily lifestyle. Today, unfortunately, especially the youth, I don't know about on Zoom, but in front of me we have youth sitting. How we behave with one another. We are in that society where we are molded by a non-Muslim society. The way we greet one another, the way we speak with one another. It does not sound, today's slang. Does not sound respectable at all. That we have a responsibility. Right? I remember when I was in high school, and I had the same issue. I would talk with in slang. But my father, whenever we spoke between our siblings, my father did not mind how we spoke. But within brothers. But the minute we started to speak with the same slang with our sisters, my father would start shouting at us. The way we started to speak with that same slang or informal English with elders from the community, my father would start to shout at us. And my father was such that he would not care who we were in front of. He would shout at us in public. For that, I am grateful to my father until the day of judgment. That he taught me the basics of how to speak with one another. That even today, when I'm speaking with someone who is my elder, I speak with them with a different tone. When I speak to my friends, I speak to them with a different tone. But at the same time, they are respectful with the gap, age gap, or the societal gap that we have within each other. Right? I do not cross my boundaries. Today, we should be able to, we should know what our boundaries are and make sure that we never overstep those boundaries. There's one boundary which is set by society. There's one boundary set which is set by religion. And we must always understand that that boundary which has been set by religion overpowers that boundary which has been set by society. Because Islam is an ever-evolving religion. Islam is a religion which is alive, which will remain alive until the day of judgment. Society comes and goes. Societies have an age where society comes into existence and then dies out, meaning the societal behaviors. We go through circles when it comes to societies. And at the same time, we see different societies in existence today. We have the Western society, we have the Eastern society. That society that we have in the UK is not the same society that we have back home in the subcontinent. But we must be able to understand that as long as these societies are within the boundaries of Islam, there's no harm in it. But the minute these societies go against Islam, this is why I always say that at the same time that living as a practicing Muslim in the Western world is very easy, at the same time it is very difficult. It becomes very difficult when we do not know our own religion. And today, this is our shortcoming. This is why Islam is in such a state that it is in today. That the Muslim world is not educated. You have the famous Pakistani poet, Iqbal, that when he came to Germany to study for his PhD. And before Iqbal, numerous other philosophers, Eastern philosophers, have made the same statement. That they stated that in the Western world, I see Islam, but I don't see Muslims. In the Eastern world, I see Muslims, but I don't see Islam. And when we look at today's society, when we look at the United Kingdom in itself, and we look at the benefits that the government provides for its citizens. For example, NHS benefits, disability allowance, DWP, PIP, income support, housing benefits. All these benefits that the government provides for its citizens is not a creation of the West. It is a creation of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Now, during his Khilafat, Amir al-Mu'mineen created 18 different benefits for the citizens of the Islamic world, where it exists, the NHS, the social benefits, the disability allowances, housing benefits, were all created by Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. But he was killed before he was able to bring these benefits into play. This is Islam. And these are the morals that our Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam teaches. Our Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam today are still alive. Why are they alive? They are alive because of the way that they behaved with mankind. You have a famous incident in regards to the time of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. A companion of the Holy Prophet came to the Prophet and said, "Oh Prophet, my two sons have gone to Syria on business, and when they went, they became Christians. Oh Prophet, do you give me permission to bring my sons back by the sword?" Meaning forcefully convert them back to Islam and bring them to Medina. The Holy Prophet replied, "No. If you wish to bring them back to Islam, bring them back through your actions, through your behavior." That's why you have the ayat of the Quran, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. Now the Holy Prophet does not want anything in reward but that we show love towards his Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And the Ahlul Bayt are alive because of their morals. The Ahlul Bayt are remembered by the Muslims and the non-Muslims today. I would say that the educated Muslims today, or the educated non-Muslims, because they have studied the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and they have realized that everything that they have is because of the Ahlul Bayt. And when we look towards the rest of the world, there's a famous museum in Australia. It is called the Museum of Etiquette and Manners. I believe it's in either Sydney or Melbourne. And they opened in 2006 or 2007. The article that I read in regards to this museum, when they explained the museum, they said that the museum has gathered the best books on mannerisms from every ethnic minority, every religion, every culture, every creed in existence today. And they go that the best book that we were able to find on mannerisms and etiquette was the Nahj al-Balagha of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. And when we look at the Nahj al-Balagha of Amir al-Mu'mineen, we see that the Nahj al-Balagha of Amir al-Mu'mineen does not just cover mannerisms, covers politics. It is the sermons and the letters of Amir al-Mu'mineen, which he has written to Muawiyah, for example, which he has written to numerous other of his commanders. His letter to Janab Malik Ashtar on how to govern. All these letters, all these sermons and sayings of Amir al-Mu'mineen, it all depends on what perspective we look at it from. The same way I say that in regards to the Quran and the Hadith of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, that depending upon what our mindset is at that precise moment in time, our understanding of the Quran and our understanding of the Hadith of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam change. Every single time, the ayat of the Holy Quran maybe is exactly the same, but our understanding of that ayat will change depending upon my intellect and depending upon my mindset at that precise moment that I read the ayat of the Holy Quran. It is exactly the same in regards to the hadith of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. The hadith of the Holy Prophet, Ana Madinatul Ilmu Aliyun Babaha. That every time you read this hadith, you will understand this hadith from a different perspective. From this hadith, I can guarantee that you will understand that Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib al-Islam, his characteristics, his mannerisms, his etiquette are limitless. That you cannot limit Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib al-Islam from any perspective. The same way you cannot limit any of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Because you have the ayat of the Holy Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. That today I have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that today I have perfected my religion and completed my mercy upon you. Now we know that the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is limitless. We cannot limit the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are limitless. We will never be able to comprehend the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is stating that He has completed His mercy upon us through the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Therefore, the same way that the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is limitless, cannot be limited, cannot be counted, cannot be comprehended. The same way the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam can never be limited, can never be comprehended, can never be understood what the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen is. Whatever wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen we understand is limited to our understanding. We will never be able to completely understand the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. It is because of this wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen that the events of Karbala took place. Today, we commemorate a companion of the Holy Prophet, of the Holy Imam, a companion by the name of Habib ibn Madahir. Habib ibn Madahir, who is a childhood friend of Imam Hussain, who grew up with Imam Hussain in the streets of Kufa. There's a famous incident that after the Dhuhr prayers, Mazahir, the father of Habib, is walking with Amir al-Mu'mineen out of Masjid al-Kufa. In front of them is Imam Hussain and Habib ibn Madahir. Amir al-Mu'mineen looks towards the two youngsters and he points towards Madahir. He says, Madahir, do you see what I see? Madahir looks in front of him and sees that Imam Hussain, as Imam Hussain is walking, Habib is walking a step behind the Imam, and every step that the Imam takes, Habib bends down and lifts the sand from the ground and wipes it across his face. Seeing this, Madahir starts to weep, and Imam Ali alayhi salam turns towards Madahir and says, Oh Madahir, there will come a time where within the vicinity of this city, Hussein will be all alone. Yet at that time, Habib will come running. As Imam Hussain arrived in the city of Karbala, Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayhi comes to Habib in Imam Hussain and says, Oh, brother Hussein, I do not like this area. This area is giving me fright. Is there no other place that we can go? The Imam replies, Oh, Sister Zainab, this is our final destination. This is our last stop. Bibi Zainab looks towards Imam Hussain, says, Oh, brother Hussein, if this is our final destination, is there no one else that you can call upon that can come to defend you? Imam Hussain thinks and says, Oh, Sister Zainab, there is one person. I will write a letter. Imam Hussain writes a letter to Habib ibn Madahir, in which he writes, Oh Habib, your friend Hussein is all alone in the sand dunes of Karbala. He is surrounded in the thousands by the enemies of Islam who have come to kill the grandson of the Prophet. Oh Habib, at this time Hussein is in your need. The messenger arrives at the house of Habib ibn Madahir early in the morning. Habib is sitting on the floor about to have breakfast. Habib goes towards the door. He receives the messenger. He takes the letter from the messenger. He comes back, he sits down, he reads the letter, he weeps. He kisses the letter and places the letter into his pocket. Habib ibn Madahir's wife looks towards Habib and says, Oh Habib, who was this letter from? Habib ibn Madahir replies that this letter was from my master Hussein ibn Ali. The wife asked, What does the Imam say? Habib says that the Imam has said that he's all alone, surrounded by thousands of enemies in the sand dunes of Karbala. He's asking for my help to go and help and defend the Holy Imam. The wife asks Habib, Oh Habib, what do you plan on doing? Habib looks towards his wife. What I'm thinking, if I leave, what will happen to you and my young son? Hearing this, the wife looks towards Habib, raises her voice and says, Oh Habib, take my chadar, take my abaya and sit. I will go to defend Hussein ibn Ali. Hearing this, Habib starts to cry and says, Oh wife, I was only testing you. There's no chance that my master calls upon me and I decline. He goes, calls his servant and orders his servant to take the horse to the outskirts of the city of Kufa and wait for him. There comes a time where the servant is waiting Night falls. The servant turned towards the horse and says, "O horse, if our master Habib does not come by sunrise, then I will sit upon you and go towards the city to defend our Imam." Hearing this, Habib comes running and goes to the servant. "O servant, you're now free." The servant starts to cry and says, "Oh master, now that we are able to protect our hereafter, you're making me a free man." The servant says that I wish to go with you. Habib and the servant start their travel towards the city towards Imam Hussain Islam. There comes a time where Bibi Zainab looks towards the horizon and sees the dust rising into the skies. She turns towards Imam Hussain and she goes, "Oh Hussain, there is someone coming." Hussain looks towards the horizon, calls upon his brother Abbas and his son Ali Akbar, says, "Go out and welcome our guest. Habib has come for his Imam." As Habib enters into the camp of Imam Hussain Islam, Bibi Fizza comes and says, "Oh Habib, Zainab sends her salams upon you." Hearing this, Habib threw himself onto the sand dune of Karbala, weeping and crying that what time has come, that Bibi Zainab sends her salam upon a measly person like that. The day of Ashura comes. Habib ibn al-Madahir, who is old, who is at the age of 63, he ties a plank of wood onto his back so that his back is straightened. He seeks permission from Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. He goes into the battlefield to fight. There comes a time where Habib ibn al-Madahir falls off his horse. As he is falling, he cries out, "Assalamu alayka ya Abu Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya Moulana." Hussein, hearing this, runs with Abu al-Fadl Abbas into the battlefield. But as they reach, Habib has breathed his last. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Radan biqada'ihi wa tasliman li'amrih. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma athla ala ahli qubur as-surur. Allahumma aqna kulla faqir. Allahumma ashfi kulla ja'i. Allahumma aksu kulla ghiyan. اللهم ارض دين كل مدين. اللهم فرج عن كل مكروب. اللهم رد كل غريب. اللهم فك كل عسير. اللهم اصلح كل فاسد من امور المسلمين. اللهم اشف كل مريض. اللهم سد فقرنا بغناك. اللهم غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك. اللهم ارض عنا الدين واغننا من الفقر انك على كل شيء قدير. Can you please recite once again the Surah Fatiha 3 times Surah Akhlaq for the Eid Salah Salam al-Marhum. Bismillah. Matam Hussain.
Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain. चलिए मदीना, चलिए मदीना, ए फूफी चलिए मदीना, चलिए मदीना, चलिए मदीना, चलिए मदीना, ए फूफी चलिए मदीना। हो गया चहलों कर चुकी मातम, जिंदगी भर है अब तो मुहर्रम। हो गया चहलों कर चुकी मातम, जिंदगी भर है अब तो मुहर्रम। अरे ताबा कयामत अब है तड़पना, चलिए फूफी अम्मा वतन चलिए मदीना, चलिए मदीना, चलिए मदीना, चलिए मदीना, ए फूफी चलिए मदीना, चलिए मदीना, चलिए मदीना, चलिए मदीना, ए फूफी चलिए मदीना। बन गई खबरें नजर दिला दी, اشکوں کی چادر سب کو چڑھا دی بن گئی قبریں نظر دلا دی اشکوں کی چادر سب کو اڑا دی گھر چلو اب تو جی کھول کے رونا چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی اماں ہوگی قیامت پوچھیں جو بابا ہم سے برکت اے پھوپھی اماں ہوگی قیامت پوچھیں جو بابا ہم سے برکت ارے کیوں نہیں آئی بالی سکینہ چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ ارے صغرا کا شکوہ چل کے مٹا دو غش میں ہے صغرا اس کو جگا دو صغرا کا شکوہ چل کے مٹا دو غش میں ہے صغرا اس کو جگا دو ارے مر گئے اکبر یہ نہ بتانا چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ ارے قبر نبی پر پہلے چلیں گے گریا کریں گے نوحہ پڑھیں گے قبر نبی پر پہلے چلیں گے گریا کریں گے نوحہ پڑھیں گے ارے گزری جو ہم پر نانا سے کہنا چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ صغرا کا شکوہ چل کے بٹا دو غش میں ہے صغرا اس کو جگا دو صغرا کا شکوہ چل کے مٹا دو غش میں ہے صغرا اس کو جگا دو ارے مر گئے اکبر یہ نہ بتانا چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ روئیں گی کب تک نہر کنارے اب نہ ملیں گے امو ہمارے روئیں گی کب تک نہر کنارے اب نہ ملیں گے امو ہمارے ارے ہم کو علم ہے ان کا اٹھانا چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ قید میں گزرا سارا محرم مجلس و ماتم کر نہ سکے ہم ارے قید میں گزرا سارا محرم مجلس و ماتم کر نہ سکے ہم ارے گھر میں عزا کا فرش بچھانا چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ. ارے روئیں گی کب تک نہر کنارے اب نہ ملیں گے امو ہمارے. ارے روئیں گی کب تک نہر کنارے اب نہ ملیں گے امو ہمارے. ارے ہم کو علم ہے ان کا اٹھانا. چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ. چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ. چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ. اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Can we have a Sayyid with us so that we can inshallah finish the program with the Ziyarat and inshallah Duaa Imam Zaman alayhi salatu wassalam. Sayyid, over to you.
وتقدم زيارة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم انت السلام منك السلام عليك السلام عليك يعود السلام سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام على الأئمة الهادين المهديين أنبياء الله. السلام على عباد الله الصالحين. السلام على علي أمير المؤمنين. السلام على فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام على الحسن حسين سيد شباب أهل الجنة أجمعين. السلام على علي بن الحسين زين العابدين. السلام على محمد بن علي باقر النبيين. السلام على جعفر بن محمد الصادق. السلام على موسى بن جعفر الكاظم. السلام على علي بن موسى الرضا. السلام على محمد بن علي الجواد. السلام على علي بن محمد الهادي. السلام على حسن بن علي الزكي العسكري. السلام على حجة بن الحسن القائم المهدي صلوات الله عليهم أجمعين. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك يتر الحسن عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا قائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
محمد وعلى
Jazakumullah khair al-jaza. Thank you very much for everyone attending tonight's Isa al-Sawab Majlis. I would like to thank on behalf of all the family members of Uncle Aftab Naqvi, and may Allah Ta'ala give you jaza for this inshallah program, and to the Isal, to all what we have recited so far, to the departed soul of Uncle Naqvi. And thank you very much, Syed, for you as well, for giving your precious time to us as well. And may Allah Ta'ala accept all our amals. Inshallah, we'll conclude this majlis with the loudest of salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجا. التماس دعاء.